What is going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the best Judgment Paladin build in last Epoch Season 2. So in this guide I will give you a quick overview of the setup, then I will explain what skills and upgrades should you focus on, then as well we'll see what is the best gear and how to get it for the endgame. And then finally we will go over the passive tree, stats, your skill rotations, and even what idols and blessings should you use, so we would be able to get the highest damage possible and much more. This is a powerful melee bruiser whose main playstyle is to call down the sacred fire through the Judgment skill by creating consecrated grounds that scorches enemies where they stand. This build focuses on spamming skills by dealing fire spell damage over time through the consecrated ground while also generating mana by using vengeance. Stacking multiple stacks of the concentrated ground will provide tremendous healing, which makes you incredibly hard to kill. Holy Aura and the Symbols of Hope will offer a passive bonuses, while Healing Hands not only restores our health and generates ward, but also doubles up as our movement skill. And one of my favorite things about it is that no unique items are needed to make this build work, but it can really shine with the right gear. So I recommend to use items like the Chance Scribe or Graver with the Wing Guard, Contents of the Mayesa, Immolator's Oblivion, Twisted Heart of the Inkeros, and Orion's Eye. All of this can take the build to the next level by combining serious DPS with exceptional survivability. But as I said, if you don't want to, then you can easily stick with the default gear. So let's start off with our skills, and we are going to be using Judgment, which is our main spammable skill, which damages enemies and provides a lot of healing. We will use nodes that remove his cooldown like the Urgent Inquisition, that also make it scale with more specific higher DPS effects by investing in the Purifying Flame and the Flaming Soul. And to help us build even more stacks, we will go with the Lingering Force, which is a multiplier to our damage and healing effectiveness. Then second we get the Vengeance, which is our main mana generator, thanks to passives like the Time and Fate that gives us mana gained when we use Vengeance and hit enemies. And for additional defenses and offensive boosting, we will get the Bolster and the Dark Duelist, for even more tankiness and DPS increase. Then next we're using the Holy Aura, which is a strong support ability that provides powerful buffs. With our nodes, we will mainly try to build even more defenses and to boost our healing effectiveness. So we'll go with passives like the Shelter from the Storm, then Purification, while also getting the Rakeni's Fury and the Firestorm to boost our damage. And on top of it, we'll also get Redemption, which boosts our healing effectiveness to the max. Then next we get the Symbols of Hope that provides even more buffs, and this time it will get activated in the background. So this is a great secondary skill. And for passives we will go with the Telegram and the Polygram that allows us to create a lot more symbols. And on top of this, we will go with passives like the Sign of the Guard, Invigorator, and the Iron Sigils, which will all give us increased defenses and other useful bonuses. And then finally, we're using the Healing Hands, which is triggered from the Vengeance and the Judgment, so we use nodes for additional healing, more ward and damage reduction. We can also use these skills for movement, thanks to Rakeni's Chariot nodes. And to make us pretty much unkillable, we'll go with more passives like the Synthesis of Light, Halted Scourge, and the Turn Undead. Next up we got the passive tree, and this is how it should look like in the Sentinel category. We mainly went with nodes that gives us bunch of defenses like the armor, fire and void resistance, block effectiveness, more health, and attributes like strength and vitality. Then next we go into the Forge Guard category just to get this one node, which gives us a lot of strength, massive increase to attack speed, and more general damage with melee weapons. Then also we go with the Void Knight just to get this one node, that as same as in the previous one, not only gives us volatile reversal, but also more health, void and physical resistance. And then finally, we're also heavily investing into the Paladin category, with all of these points allocated like this. So we want to go big on increased all types of resistances, more attunement, block effectiveness, more health, increased healing effectiveness, increased physical damage and movement speed. Next up we also got the Weaver tree, and I'm still experimenting so it's not fully done, but for right now this is the most optimal way to build it for pretty much most of the builds. So we start right here, then go like this, then pretty much make this type of circle and then end it at around this point. To make the most out of the Weaver wheel items, we will aim for items with a higher Weaver wheel, so closer to 25 to maximize the potential upgrades. Also, what I like to do is run level 100 zones to increase the chance of fighting the higher wheels wheel item. Then focus also on the monolith timeline with the unique echo rewards for the item type you desire. And lastly, you could also increase the timeline corruption to enhance the reward quality even further. But overall, this Weaver tree will offer an alternative path to enhancing unique items, which will allow you to grow stronger by doing specific endgame content. Next up we got idols, and this is how it should look like. So we're using one unique idol called the Throne of the Ambition, that is size 2x2 and gives us more armor per stack, then 20 max stacks of ambition and more DPS. Then also we got 3 more size 2x2 heretical adorned Raycam idols with modifiers like increased healing effectiveness and block effectiveness. And then finally we got 4 size 1x1 small weaver idols with increased healing effectiveness, more health and physical resistance. Next up we got our blessing setup, and this is how it should look like. So we want to go with the Grand Hanger of the Void, with some of the spell damage now leeches as health. Then second, get the Rhythm of the Tide, which increases health regen and more general health regen. Then next get Grand Resolve of Humanity, that gives us more to all resistances. Then next get the Grand Bones of Eternity, with block chance and block effectiveness. And lastly, we want to go with the Grand Body of Obsidian, that gives us more armor. Next we have our equipment, and for the head we are using the Leon 9 Great Helm with armor, strength and more health. Then for amulet we got the Orion Eye with less damage over time taken, then increased damage over time dealt and more mana. We take this to boost our defenses to its maximum potential. Next we got the Transcriber Graver with the melee damage, increased melee attack speed and spell damage. And with tier 7 melee attack speed modifiers will boost its DPS massively. Then next get the Champion Regalia with armor, strength and more health. Then for shield get the Continents of Mayeza with the block chance and block effectiveness. Then for ring we are using the Flames of the Midnight with the Ward Decay, increased healing and increased elemental damage over time. We went with this ring to get 20% movement speed, while also getting additional fire penetration. Then for belt we got the Immolator's Oblation that gives us potion slots, health and even more increased health. Then for our second ring we got the Sun Wrath with the fire resistance, increased healing effectiveness and increased elemental damage over time. We mainly use it for increased fire damage. Next we got the Wind Guards with armor, endurance and increased melee attack speed. These ones are huge for attack speed and haste, and we want to combine them with the advent of the Erased Boots, that will give us massive damage reductions. However, if you want more speed, then you can go also with different unique boots as well. Then next for the boots we went with the advent of the Erased with armor, increased movement speed and health. And lastly for relic we got the Twisted Heart of the Uncaros with increased health, more levels of judgment and even more strength. This mainly will give us the +5 levels to judgment, which is a massive upgrade, especially when we are using it with tier 7. So overall this is the best case scenario setup, which should be more for an example of what stats and prefixes to look for. But no matter what you have, try to build around the mana gained when you use Vengeance and hit at least one enemy. And then for the rest, build on defenses and damage reduction, as we are going to be doing massive damage already. And now finally we've come to the gameplay, and I will show you 2 different rotations, so one for general AoV and one for single target slash against bosses. So first off we got our AoV farming, and for this one we want to start our fights by unleashing the Judgment to squirt our enemies in the Sacred Flames, while benefiting from the massive healing through the multiple stacks of the Consecrated Ground effects. Then next to sustain your mana, keep on activating the Vengeance Strikes. Then for mobility, rely on Healing Hands or a non-specialized Shield Rush to move around the battlefield super fast. And also don't forget to trigger the Holy Aura, as it provides powerful buffs and bonus damage. But overall, as you can tell, this build is very simple and spammy, so the core of it is just to spam the Judgment and see enemies die in seconds. And then second of all, we got the bossing, which to be honest I already covered a little bit in the first rotation. But to basically summarize it, then this time we want to start fights by maintaining all of our buffs, and make sure that they stay up all the time. Then next, don't forget to keep saving the Healing Hands for clutch moments as a panic button. And lastly, if the boss is out of your reach and you need healing, then cast the Judgment, as the Consecrated Ground will restore your health for free. So let me know what you think about this build in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, then you definitely don't want to miss my previous top 3 best builds video, where I showed even more powerful builds. So click the screen now and I'll see you in the next one.